Okay, now I have traced my ruler like so. I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to, at the 5 inch, 4 inch, 3 inch, 2 inch, and 1 inch, make a little bitty dash. Don't make them too big. I want to then take my ruler and do the best you can to make these straight up and down. And that right there is our very first value scale. Now we're going to have 3 of these when we get done. So go ahead and take a second really quick and draw all 3 of these boxes out. Just trace around your ruler. And I kind of cheat. I try to do 2 of them at once. Let's talk about ink pens, because just like anything else that you like, you have different varieties. If you are a person that does skateboarding, I know there's better skateboards than the Walmart kind. You know, I know there's probably better wheels. So here is what we have. This right here is the ink pen you have. Okay, I buy them by the box of a dozen. I pay probably $1 to $1.50 for them. This is a pen I bought at Staples, just like this one. I prefer a V5, which is what these are. I also prefer them to be where they aren't gelling because they smear. You then can go up to the expensive stuff and buy the Faber-Castell. These are at Hobby Lobby. These are about $3 a piece. If you like to work in ink, this is the ink pen to get. You can paint over the top of it and the ink doesn't move. It doesn't get up and walk away from you. So these are just the different types of pens you have available to you. You can bring your own pen for this project. That is what my main thing is. So with our pens figured out, let's go ahead and start with the word value scale. Over here on the edge, that's what we are going to be working on for the next few days, is the word value scale. And in art, it doesn't have any limit. I have seen value scales that are as simple as our 5 value scale all the way up to a 20 value scale. Make sure you have this wrote down in your notes. Okay? Or I don't write it down for my health. Now, when you look at my value scales, I naturally go from left to right. The reason is because I'm left-handed. I don't want to put my hand over something I've already drawn. What we are going to do is I'm going to draw this with you like a right-handed person would. And if you are left-handed and you want to do it backwards, that's okay. But we're going to have a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. What? No, just this top one. Only write that on the top one. And we're going to call this a scribble. This is going to be our scribble. Now, this is one of my favorites to do because it's really easy. It's not really hard. It doesn't take a lot of time-consuming effort, but at the same time, it's pretty. Here's the deal. Do it as I do it, not as you think it should be done, okay? Follow my instructions to the T. So, first of all, 0 is always white, okay? Paper white is not a bad thing in drawings. What we're going to do is you are going to take your pencil, or excuse me, your ink pen, and you are going to loop. Now, please, 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 do not do this as if you are making marching ants or, you know, rows of circles. And fill up this area. Now, what happens is if you make marching ants is you get this dark row edge. Notice that I'm going, you want lots of paper showing here. Okay, how many of you have seen the family circle ones where Dennis the Menace is traveling all over the house and you have to follow it? You've seen that in the Sunday comics before? That is about kind of like what we're doing. We're tracing Dennis the Menace's steps all over the house. And notice that is really loopy and really big. And it goes all the way from 1 to 5. Okay? Take a few minutes. Don't rush it. Make lots of paper show through. Step number 2. This is how it gets darker looking. Okay? It's not going to get darker because you took and you got darker as you worked. It's because we add layers. So we're going to come and start on the second square. Again, I want to make this nice and big and loopy. Do not try to make it denser. Keep it random, guys. Try your hardest to keep it random. That is a very hard thing to do. But when you do this, do you see how the one square looks a little bit lighter than the second? Or than the rest of that rectangle? We want it to look nice and loopy. But notice I'm not leaving any halo around my edges. So go ahead and make sure you're trying to get right up to the edge. Try to keep it from going out. I know it happens. Don't panic. It's not the end of the world. So, at line number 3, we take off. And again, I want it to be nice and loopy. I do not worry about the fact that it's not covering everything up. People always, when they want to shade, they want to give me a black and a white. There is so many other prettier values out there than black and white. Black and white are used in limited areas where everything else is used a whole lot. Now, this type of texture that we are doing, the reason we would be working on it is if I was doing an afro, if I was doing a briar bush or a wool shirt, this is the kind of value I would be using because it shows that really curly, tight hair or fiber. After that, we're going to go to value number 4. And again, guess what? My circles don't change. The only thing that's changing is the fact that I've got 4 layers on this one. Go all the way to the end. And then I'm going to go again over number 5. Now when I get to number 5, I get a little bit pickier and I go a little bit tighter on my circles because I want it a little bit darker. And guys, if I was doing this to a number 12 value would be pitch black. There's no way around it. Number 12 would have to be pitch black. And do not try to get away with doing a squiggle mark on top of this because it shows up in the texture of the paper. You have to keep going in this weird, funky scribble motion. So take your time to get a nice, pretty scribble value. If you mess up, you can go down one set of squares. That's okay. I would rather you have to do this over. This is what I did this weekend, okay? This is what I did whenever the snow and the wonderful weather showed up. Now, here's what I want to show you. Please listen. Everybody sees my value 0 in here, right? Okay. See my value 1. Can you see where my value 2 starts showing up? And you get in here and you start seeing value 3s and value 4s and even into my value 5s if you look real closely. Notice, here's what I want you to notice. There is not a whole lot of value 0s and a lot of value 5s. Do y'all notice that? There's a whole lot of values 1, 2, 3, and 4s. That's how value works. You want to have some, even if it's in color or if it's in black and white. You want to have some value 1s, 0s, and you want to have a few value 5s, but you want to have a whole lot of values in between. So, with that being said, that's the reason I want you to see this. Okay?